The tree was tilted up. I don't think I can tilt it. Hi, I'm Miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. I'd like to talk a little about a frequently asked question, which is, how should I value a bonsai, or how much is my bonsai worth? Well, how much is a bonsai is worth to you is really what it's valued to you. So it's really hard to define. It's like a piece of art. It's very subjective, but I will try to have some generalization that may be helpful to you. How do you value a bonsai when you see it at a show or something like that? Well, first of all, the design has to be pleasing. The aesthetic, you can relate to it, or you can imagine something, it tickles your fantasy about a scenery. And then the other thing is, unfortunately, it's also about rarity. So for example, people make a very big deal about cork pine, or for that matter, any deciduous tree with corky pine trunks that gives it an age. People like that a lot. So rarity, it's not so much artisticness, but it's also a consideration. Then we pay a lot of attention to age, the trunk size, the amount of branching, the ramification, and the health of the tree. These are the general impression it gave us that somebody has taken good care of it, the tree, and therefore it's worth more. So these are also consideration. And then finally, there's also the pot. Some are antique pots that cost a few $100 or a few $1,000s. And then the moss and the overall execution of the bonsai. These are all factors to be taken into consideration. And if you're buying a tree, think about how you're going to use it. So if you have a big antique, you want to have a piece next to it, you probably want something about this size. Or if you have a really fine little piece of antique, then maybe you want to buy a Mammoth Bonsai to complement it. So it's really up to you. There are a lot of intangible considerations, how you value a bonsai. So good luck, and I hope to see you in February, the auction at the Mammoth Bonsai Auction in Oakland. Then the other one is that, can any tree be made into potentially a beautiful bonsai? The question he asks is that I'm starting afresh, and a lot of my bonsai, I don't feel they are so good. What can I do to make them look better in some sense? Do I have hope that they will look good someday? Well, that's what I've been saying. Like if you look at a bonsai, there's certain parts that's really bad. And then you gotta get rid of it, but retain the good part to build on, because the clip and grow method that I prescribe is really adding on to what you got. So get the basic curve and all that, and then add on it. And if you want to use wiring, let the tree grow wild and then clip it and then grow it. So it's the same, but the process is a little bit reversed. And for example, the question about graft mark a lot. A graft mark generally never goes away. It doesn't look good. The hope is that it will eventually melt into one where the top and the bottom have the same trunk, in a sense that the same bark color, and there's not a knob to show the disjoint. But generally, I found it never works. So start over again by girding that a little bit above the graft mark, and bury it and let it root out again. So yeah, you can recover it, but you have to be drastic. You have to be ruthless. Why live with something that's never going to be right, but live with something that is, to start off, that fits into your vision? Well, the other question is very astute. On my roughly 5,000, estimated 1,000-year-old California juniper, I mentioned it was upright, and I tilted to make it go upside down. So the question is that, how do I make the roots that points up disappear? Well, so when I got it, the tree was tilted up. I don't think I can tilt it. So what happened is that this tree was planted with this side up. So I really all I had to do is just tilt it, and so I did not really have to cut off much of the roots. But if you look at this tree, the curve goes from here, and it comes up, and then this goes down. And so this will be coming out, and then this will be the main branch. It will take 2 years to have some branch coming out this way, and then this goes out that way, and this goes out that way. So it'll be a nice triangle from here to here, as well here to here. So that's the design. So all I did is I took it out of the pot so I can see better, and I reoriented to pointing down. So the roots basically had to go to the side. I did not recall I had to remove a lot of roots. That's a couple years ago now. So, but sometimes when you like a tree that's growing like this, and you want to do a tilt, basically the root is sticking out like that. So what you can do is to save the root below, and above, you can cover it with a root ball in a sense of keep the soil, and then cover it with something like a tarp or something so that the roots below will establish, and the roots on top you can gradually remove. And so that's how you save the tree. The watering during dormant season, I really don't have any experience in that, but based on the feedback I got, and also my reading and my logic, it says the easiest thing is to bury it with sawdust, compost or something, so that when it rains or when it snows on top, the snow will melt and keep the soil, the root ball moist. The reality is that it really doesn't matter that much because the evaporation rate in the wintertime is very low. So long any kind of watering once every week, once every month, I think that ought to be okay. That's not my first experience either. Then the other question was the prostrated juniper. When I was doing it, I broke the branch. Asked me, did the branch survive? Yes, a good part of it survived. I'll show you later when we walk over there to take a picture of its development. This is the broken branch that I tried to save when I did this tree. You can see this part survived and it's growing quite nicely, and this part did not. And so this is okay. I'll cut it off, make that into a chin. But I continue to hold this tight so that it doesn't break off accidentally. In the meantime, as you can see, this tree has grown a lot. And someday this will be like this, just a little bit shy above this. And this will be a nice, unusual kind of a cascade tree. So I will show this tree every 6 months to a year. After a couple, 3 years, it will look really nice. Again, what about a soil mix of perlite, coconut coir, and pumice instead of sandy loam? Would that work? Well, you know, there's so many questions about soil. So let me provide a little bit more generalization. First, so you never ask this question about soil alone. You always have to combine the soil composition with your watering habits. So if a soil is very, very, like this one that you mentioned, it's very porous, it doesn't retain too much water, although by adding the coconut coir, it does retain some water for several days. But also none of these material retains fertilizer very well. So you have to talk about soil mix in the same breath as watering habits and fertilizing habits. So I predict this mixture that you suggested, perlite, coconut coir, and pumice, would do very, very well. If you fertilize it religiously, have a routine, so that the soil is always have fertilizer and moisture, I think it will grow very, very fast because that's basically hydroponic. In fact, they are now growing vegetable in that kind of a medium. So yeah, try it and tell us how it works. But for me, I rather use my really good sandy loam from my nursery, in a sense from my farm. And that really is a kind of compromise of all. You only have to water it twice a week, although we recommend you water once a day. And use my liquid fertilizer, you have no problem but thriving trees. The last question is quite interesting in asking, are bonsai and calligraphy related? Well, in a very remote way, yes. Bonsai is art, so is calligraphy. And I did a video about 2 months ago talking about painting, Asian art, calligraphy, and bonsai all in one video. And my point is that you have to learn the basics if you want to do good bonsai. It's just like calligraphy. You started learning the basics of calligraphy by following. You go to a book, it tells you which one is the first stroke, second stroke. You follow exactly to that, and so that you learn the basics of calligraphy really well. But once you have the basics, then you combine what you see in paintings, in trees. You take a brush, you go like shh, and a flow, and that's your big, beautiful calligraphy that makes you famous. Whereas frankly, the basic formal calligraphy is very difficult to do perfect. And so, in fact, perfect basic calligraphy is really valuable, very, very beautiful. And the same with bonsai. I see some of the Japanese bonsai the old Japanese bonsai in bonsai books, they are really magnificent. The amount of care that went into it is so much. On the other hand, I feel like it's so overdone, so overgrown. It masks the beauty of the artistic aspect of it. So everything's a compromise, everything is connected, and that's how we create art. That's why I did the funny one a few weeks ago about, Bruce Lee. Well, that's totally off the wall, but it's make art an imaginative medium for you to create what's in your image. And I think there are a lot of American art that we can that can relate to American culture that will ultimately show up in bonsai, and that would be wonderful. So thank you very much. I hope you like my comments, and thank you for listening to my rambling. And if you think I'm valuable, please encourage me by clicking like, and please subscribe to our channel because we expect to do actually 4 videos, 3 long ones. Let's see, 2 long ones, one Q&A, and 1 short every week. So there's plenty to share with each other. And please give me some feedback so I can improve. Thank you very much. See you next week.